All right, so welcome again, everyone, to our Arab Shabbat study, Shabbat evening study. I trust that we all had an eventful week, and if we had a bad week, then all the more reason for us to be joyful that the Sabbath is upon us. This evening, we are going to continue our journey, continue down the rabbit hole of Chanoch and Eliyahu, Enoch and Elijah, trying to identify if they are indeed the two witnesses of the book of Revelation, chapter 11. Last week, in part 2, we would have looked at a few things. Most interestingly would have been the book of 4 Ezra, chapter 7, where we would have seen Ezra asking Yahuwah what happens to persons after they die. And we would have gotten a very detailed answer as it relates to the evil and their 7 ways of torment, and the righteous and their 7 orders of rest. And I would have told you to pay keen attention to the word order for tonight's study. And so we are going to, without further delay, get right into it. So this is part 3. Based on what I'm seeing, we might end up doing about 5 or 6 parts of this. May not be consecutive, but in order to bring it to a close or some semblance of understanding, we're probably going to have to do about 5 to 6 presentations. Remember, we still have to get to our revision for your exam at the Feast of Sukkot coming up early October in a month's time. So a lot to do. Anyways, so Chanoch and Eliyahu, what we're going to look at tonight. So we would have seen a small inference or reference last week to the city of Chanoch in one of those books that we read. Anybody remember seeing that last week, the city of Enoch?
Yes.
So we are going to see if we can find some more information on that particular city. Because if there is such a city that is not on earth, it is suspended above us, then you would think that we need to know something about that city. Eh? It sounds like a good city. There's not a PNP, JLP city or a Democrat, Republican cities. Sound like a good city to live in. So let us see if we can get some more information about this city. So the book of the writings of Abraham, chapter 4, verse 1. Noah, the son of Lamech. Noah was the son of Lamech, the son of Methuselah, the son of Chanoch, Enoch, who was taken up with his city. Why? That they might minister unto those in the flesh who sought a higher law than was available to them on the earth. So there was a city called the city of Chanoch that was taken up from the earth, much like Enoch was taken up from the earth. And the city was taken up so that they who are citizens of that city might minister unto those in the flesh who sought a higher law than was available to them on the earth. And we know that the witnesses are prophets. We saw that in Revelation 11, we said that the witnesses are 2 prophets. And you know that a witness gives a testimony to say what they saw. Chapter 10 of the same book. The child grew and waxed strong in wisdom and mighty in the power of the priesthood. Kehuna is priesthood, Hebrew for priesthood. For he was initiated into the order of the ancients. Very important term here. Order of the ancients. In his childhood, he was initiated. Which child is this talking about? I soon tell you. And he learned the rites and the ordinances and the powers of the priesthood with the signs and tokens and keywords wherewith he could call upon the powers of the heavens to combat the forces of the adversary. Powers of the heavens would be the angels, you would think. And when he was come of age, he took 12 wives and begat many sons and daughters who grew up in righteousness and served Yahuwah all their days. And some died, and others were caught up into the city of Chanoch. When you go to the book, we all should have this book on our devices. You'll have to go back to chapter 9 to see who this is talking about. This was talking about Noah. Chapter 9 tell you that on the 8th day, chapter 9 literally has one verse. On the 8th day he was circumcised, and they called his name Noah. So this was talking about Noah. So Noah took 12 wives, had many sons and daughters. A lot of them grew up in righteousness, and the ones who grew up in righteousness, they were taken up into the city of Chanoch. And you can go and read the rest of the story to see how that unfolds. We're just keeping our focus right now is this city. So it says that this individual was initiated into the order of the ancients. And when you see these kind of rhetoric, persons tend to get scared. And this is why a lot of persons are afraid of these books. Because when you see things like this, it starts to sound like a secret society, you know, like Lodge and Illuminati and the Freemason and all of these things. But we have to understand that Satan mirrors everything that is in Yahuwah's kingdom. Satan mirrors it. We have to learn that. So he was initiated into the order of the ancients, whatever that is, in his childhood. Sound like a good thing to be initiated in, the order of the ancients. I remember we saw in the book of 4 Ezra last week that you get seven what of rest you get when you are righteous and you die.
7 orders of rest.
7 orders. So we're seeing the word orders coming through again. And it said that these persons from the order of the ancients were taken up. Some of them were taken up to the city of Chanoch. Chapter 16, verse 3 of the same book. The remainder of the righteous had died or been caught up into Chanoch city prior to the time of the flood. And these 8 were saved. So I tell you that we name again, Noah and 3 of his sons and their wives and 1 of his wives were saved. They were left on the earth to preserve a name. The other righteous were taken up before the time of the flood. The only righteous that were left were these 8 persons, and everybody else died in the flood. The writings of Abraham 20 verse 1. For Peleg was the son of Eber, who was the son of Shelach, who was the son of Arpachshad, who was the son of Shem. And his people, that's Shem, no? His people sought after the order of the heavens and obtained it, for they were caught up like the city of Chanoch. So this order thing here sounds like it's something that we need to figure out. It sounds very important. We find multiple books, because this is not the only book. We find multiple books telling us about the order. And it seems that this order is the way to the kingdom. He said that Shem's people sought after the order of the heavens. So them now concern themselves with earthly things, which is the same thing that Yahusha came and taught, right?
Right.
So you should focus on heavenly matters, because this earth and all this thing that will pass. So these people were of that kind of mindset. They sought after the order of the heavens and they obtained it. I don't think I have to tell you how them obtain it, do I?
Not at all.
Okay, good. So they obtain it by righteousness, which is keeping the Torah. For they were caught up like the city of Chanoch. So they were caught up because they were righteous. And this is what we read in 4 Ezra 7. So it shouldn't seem foreign to you because we read it last week in 4 Ezra 7. If you are righteous and you die, you are caught up to a particular place. You see the 7 orders of rest that is promised to you, and you are gathered to a habitation where you await those nice, beautiful things to take place. That's what we read last week. Huh?
Yes.
Chapter 113, verse 1. 3 months later, Yahweh sent unto me 3 of his angels, his ministering messengers, who were Kodesh men of Elohim from the city of Chanoch. This is Abraham speaking now. Remember when Abraham was seated under the tree and him said, 3 man a walk up and him jump up and realize them an angel and himself. He might go feed them and all of these things. And then when they were leaving, Yahweh said, why should I hide from Abraham what I am going to do? And Yahweh send the 2 man them go and tell Abraham, say, listen, I go burn up Sodom and Gomorrah. Remember that story? Me alone there tonight.
Yes, I remember.
So this is another account of that story. So 3 months later, Yahweh sent unto me 3 of his ministering messengers who were holy men of Elohim from the city of Chanoch. So those came from the city of Chanoch. So I just giving you the verses that tell us about this city. Seem to be a very special city. Chapter 115, verse 2. The one who had before spoken said unto me, Abraham, we are from the city of Chanoch and are ordained after the holy order of Elohim. So the order of the ancients, the order of the heavens, Shamayim, remember Shamayim is heavens, and the order of Elohim, one and the same thing. There is an order. And it shouldn't be the first time you're hearing this word. I shouldn't have to tell you that this word is in the 66 canon that everybody holds so sacred. Anybody can tell me where you can find this word order in the 66 canon? No? All right. So we're going to see later on in the lesson. So it's not that I just go and take this thing from far out books. This word is actually in a regular book. So the angel told him that, listen, we are ordained after the order, the holy order of Elohim. So clearly we are seeing that, as I've been saying the past 2 weeks, past 3 weeks, we have no idea how.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Shabbat Shalom, sir. Are you referring to the order of Melchizedek?
Yeah, but you're late to the answer. We'll move on already. So we're going to get to it.
It just clicked to me. I didn't
Yeah,
it
so.
just clicked. Was wondering what you're talking about until that just clicked.
Yeah. So very good. So as I was saying, as we've been saying the past 3 weeks, we have no idea how heaven and the spiritual realm is governed. We have absolutely no idea. And I don't think it's attributable to a lack of information or a lack of source material, because I think the 66 canon gives us enough information to pique our interest, where if we are able to remove our confirmation biases, these biases that we were raised upon in Christianity and all of these madness that we were taught, if you are able to look beyond those biases and be objective, you would be able to see that, listen, there's something all right. Something is not adding up based on what we've been taught and what I am seeing in these books. And I can show you verse upon top of verse from the 66 canon persons struggle to explain. Here is one, Abraham's bosom. I'm just going to show you because a lot of persons might be averse to these books, the writings of Abraham and the Jubilees and all of these books that we've been reading. Persons might be averse to those books. So I'm going to show you from the 66 canon that there are things in those books that prove to us that we have no idea how heaven and the spiritual realm is governed. What takes place there, we have no idea. So we have no, we really have no ground to use the fact that the book of Enoch, the book of Adam and Eve, the book of the writings of Abraham, the Jubilees, and all of these books, because these books give us information about the transactions of heaven. Those are not reasons for us to discredit the books, because we see things in the 66 canon that we ourselves can't explain. So anyways, Abraham's bosom. Let us look at it. In the book of Luke, chapter 16, watch this. And this is New Testament, which a lot of persons hold in high regard, which I don't. Not that I don't think that the book is useful. I don't hold it as scripture. That's a discussion for another day. It is what it is. But this book, or this section of the Bible, is what mainstream Christianity holds as the valid testament or the new covenant. So here you go. Luke 16. There was a certain rich man who used to dress in purple and fine linen, and who lived luxuriously every single day. Bossy boy, chacha boy. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus. Correct name, Elazar. Elazar means Elohim will help, or Elohim's helper, or El is my helper. El, Elohim, Azar, help. When Yahweh said, I will make a helper for him in Genesis, Azar is the word that was used. Hebrew word. How them arrive at Lazarus? I can't tell you. Man's name is Elazar. Elohim will help. There was a certain beggar named Elazar, being covered with sores, who was placed at his gate, and longing to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Indeed, even the dogs came and licked his sores. Which is bad sickness. And it came to be that the beggar died and was carried by the angels to the bosom of Abraham. And the rich man also died and was buried. Stick up in. Don't read go any further. Did we not read something similar to this in the book of 4 Ezra chapter 7 last week?
Yes.
4 Ezra tells us that when the righteous dies, they are gathered to a particular habitation.
Yeah.
And an angel, a particular angel is there that protects them, that guards them. We saw that last week, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing here that the beggar Lazarus died, and he was carried by angels to the bosom of Abraham. To this day, Christianity cannot tell you what the bosom of Abraham is. I am telling you now that when you have all the information, you put one and one together. Because remember, it should be line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. That is how Yahweh designed his word. When you put all of these together, you can come to a fair conclusion that the bosom of Abraham would be that very same place that 4 Ezra tells us is that habitation, that Revelation tells us when him say, I saw the souls under the altar, and all of these things, you put one and one together and says that one place. Not so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Abraham was a righteous man. So Abraham, if anybody would be in that place, Abraham would have to be there. Not so you go.
Yes.
And when you understand,
Yeah.
you study this bosom thing, the bosom thing here is it symbolic for care. You know, a mother puts a child in her bosom. You know, it's caring for the child. You say, my bosom friend, close. You are committing something to the care. When you say Abraham's bosom, he's in the care of Abraham. So if he's in the care of Abraham, based on this Greek translation, bosom of Abraham, if the man is in the care of Abraham, and Abraham died centuries before Elazar lived, then clearly, wherever Abraham's soul is, that is where Elazar was brought. Now, say go.
Same place, right in the order, one of the 7 order.
And this is Yahusha speaking here, and I miss it. This is New Testament. Yahusha is speaking. Anyway, so the man was brought to the bosom of Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried. While suffering tortures in hell now, Sheol, the grave, having lifted up his eyes, what did 4 Ezra tell us that the evil get?
Torment of seeing what the righteous the prosperity of the righteous and how they have been living.
Thank you very much. 7 ways of torment. Thank you. Watch how we're going to read this now and tell me if it don't sound similar to 4 Ezra. While suffering tortures in Sheol in the grave, having lifted up his eyes, he saw Abraham very far away and Lazarus in his bosom. And crying out, he said, Father Abraham, have compassion on me and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am suffering in this flame. It's a serious business in a bridge. And this is why I tell you that the 66 canon confirm these books more than anything else. This is serious business. This is exactly what you read in 4 Ezra last week. Exactly what you read. Ezra said, the angel told Ezra that when the evil die, they are going to be tormented. And one of the torment is that they will see the life that the right is promised to the righteous after. And it will be a form of torment. And he said that this man here died, the 2 men ended, one gone in Abraham's bosom, which would be the habitation of the righteous, and one is in Sheol, which is the grave. And him look and him see Lazarus and Abraham in a them niceness and enjoy themselves and I wait for themselves and other rest. And the man said, listen, come here, please. But anyways, the story continues. Verse 25. Abraham said, son, remember that in your life you received your good, and likewise Lazarus in his life received evil. Now the tables turn. So us who are suffering now, don't pay no attention to who is prospering, brethren. Prosperity in this life is not the prosperity that you should want. Is in the next life. Listen to Abraham. Besides all this, watch this now. Between us and you is a great chasm or chasm. A great chasm has been set. What is a chasm? Anybody know what?
A boundary, a border.
Boundary. It's not even a boundary. It's a big hole. Like a canyon.
Yeah.
Where you have to have one bridge to cross. So in other words, you can't pass, come over here. So see him say there? So that those who wish to pass from here to you are unable. And those who want to come to us from over your side cannot do so. So Abraham said, it's set already, my boss. Me and Lazarus can come over there so can help you. And you can come over here, so now. It's set. Now that's the same thing that Ezra tell you last week.
Yeah.
If we were diligent enough to go and read the following chapter and the following verses that concluded chapter 7 of Ezra, you would see where Ezra asked if him can pray for him family them. And the angel tell him, say, in that day, if him can pray for him family them, and the angel tell him, say, listen, when that day you come and eat that brother, there is no redemption of people. And this is why I tell you that grace have an expiry date. All who love talk about grace, it has an expiry date. The angel told him that, listen, when that day comes, that is it. There is no praying for anybody. There is no redemption. It's either you are classified as evil or you are classified as righteous. And so it will be. That is what Abraham is telling him, that, listen, you don't know the classification pass. And he said, then I beg you, Father, that you would send him to my father's house. So I'm saying, all right, since that's me last, there is no hope for me. Send him back to the land I live in, to my father's house. For I have 5 brothers. Let him warn them, lest they also come to this place of torture. Same thing as what I tell you in a virgin. 7 ways of torment. When you read it last week, it sounds like a dopey show, don't? The look here I tell you. Same thing. Abraham said to him, they have Moses and the prophets. Let them hear them. So in other words, them have the Torah, them have Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, all of them, the 12 prophets, Daniel, everybody. Let them listen to them. That is what Abraham said. I will not go back. Lazarus will not go back. Make them listen to the Torah. The same thing that I and Lazarus use and reach here is the same thing them about them disposal. Make them use it. Luke 16, and that's why I don't understand how people say Yahusha come and abolish the law when this is the very same New Testament telling people, Abraham telling somebody said, go and go use Moses and the prophet. Abraham never said, go and go use Yahusha because him come now. Yeah? Him said, go and go use Marsha and the prophets. Anyways, that's not our topic for this evening. Verse 30. And he said, no, Father Abraham, but if someone from the dead goes to them, they shall repent. They will believe if somebody from the dead goes to them. But he said to him, if they do not hear Moses and the prophets, neither would they be persuaded even if one should rise from the dead. So if the Torah don't change you, you will not believe anybody else. So just move on with your life. It is what it is. Is that clear? Does this make last week any clearer for you?
Crystal clear.
Do you think you can believe for Ezra Wainwright?
Yes, man.
Without this, I believe, without this, I believe for Ezra. So this only concretize the matter.
And I would have told you last week that if you discredit for Ezra, you discredit basically the entire Old Testament, because Ezra is the scribe who is responsible for the recreation of the Old Testament as we know it. So if you throw out one of them book as the Catholic Church did, you can throw out the entire Bible, you can throw out the book of Ezra and Nehemiah, which he definitely wrote. Anyways, John 1, this bosom thing, we see it here again. For the Torah was given through Moses, the favor and truth came through Yahushua Mashiach. No one has ever seen Elohim. All came to be through him, the only brought forth Son. Where is the brought forth Son? In the bosom of the Father, in the care of the Father. He did declare. So you realize that this bosom thing here is not an earth thing, right? Because we know that Yahusha is not on earth. Now so you go.
Yeah.
So this bosom business is not an earth thing, Bridge. Now this was the witness of John when the Jews sent from Jerusalem priests and Levites to ask him, who are you? Ready for the rabbit hole again? Or are we already in it?
Let's go.
Akazi, how you stay for the rabbit hole? You asleep? Nicole?
Ready.
Right. Yes, Jingbang then ready to everybody ready. All right, lovely. Further down the rabbit hole we go. Enoch 22. Watch this now. Show no Bible word. When these things come together, you have to jump up out of your seat and skip 2 times, and then you have to run around the house and contain myself and come back, come sit down and continue right to me. Right. Enoch 22. From there I proceeded to another spot, and we know Enoch get him tour. Proper tour. We saw Ezekiel getting a tour as well. I don't know why these things are so hard for persons to believe. And it's because people don't read them Bible and them just listen to what pastor tell them. Ezekiel got a similar tour from about chapter 36 of the book of Ezekiel, go all the way back to the end of the book. He got a tour of what it will be like in the day of Yahuwah. And that's why I don't know how people say circumcision is done with and all of these things and sacrifices are done with, because Ezekiel shows us that these things are going to be our prerequisite for entrance into the kingdom. Enoch get him tour, Ezekiel get him tour. Enoch said, from there I proceeded to another spot where I saw the west, a great and lofty mountain, a strong rock, and 4 delightful places. Then Raphael in verse 3, one of the holy angels who were with me, answered and said, these are the delightful places where the spirits, Ruachoth, plural for spirit, Ruach, spirit, Ruachoth, spirits. So these are the delightful places where the spirits, the souls of the dead, will be collected. Now that phrase I tell you last week. So there's an habitation for the souls of the dead, the righteous. Now so you go.
Yes, sir.
All right. Different book, different sources saying the same thing. All the time people say if it no go so, or you go.
Here, so.
Okay, near Figoso. So these are the delightful places where these spirits, the souls of the dead, will be collected. For them, where they formed, and here will be collected all the souls of the sons of men. So in other words, when he said for them, where they formed, he's saying that these places were created for this purpose. These places in which they dwell shall they occupy until the day of judgment and until their appointed period. Now the same thing, where man name tell you last, because I say Ezekiel, Ezra. Their appointed period will be long, even until the great judgment. And I saw the spirits of the sons of men who were dead. Watch this now. And their voices reached to heaven while they were accusing. This sound like Revelation when John said, I saw the spirits under the altar asking Yahuwah, when will you avenge us of these evil men? No, so John said in Revelation. I me make you. Same thing we see in Enoch. Their voices reached to heaven while they were accusing. And I would have said to you in a few weeks past that there is nothing that you can find in the book of Revelation that is not written in another book from a period before, an Old Testament book. There's nothing you find in Revelation that you can't find in an Old Testament book. That's why I tell you that the New Testament is not scripture. Only the book of Revelation can be considered scripture, inspired, because it was a revelation given to John by the Messiah himself, and there's nothing new in that revelation. Then I inquired of Raphael, an angel who was with me, and said, whose spirit is that? The voice of which reaches to heaven and accuses. So you notice him ask, whose spirit is that? There is one spirit that is crying out louder than all the other. Who that? He answered, saying, this is the spirit of Abel, who was slain by Cain, his brother, and who will accuse that brother until his seed be destroyed from the face of the earth. Now, this is not supposed to sound far-fetched for you, because Genesis tell you that the blood of Abel cried out. Arami make it up.
No, same way, sir.
And it cried for vengeance. It cried to be avenged. It cried for recompense. And we see the same thing here. The spirit of Abel is crying, accusing his brother until his seed be destroyed from the face of the earth. And we know that Cain's seed is still here. That's why Jude tells us, beware of the way of Cain. The way again, the way of Cain, are going to lead you to the 7 ways of torment. Verse 9. At that time, therefore, I inquired respecting him and respecting the general judgment, saying, why is one separated from another? So Enoch looking and realizing that, listen, all of the souls are not at the same place. All of the spirits are not in the same place. So him say, why is there a separation? You know, like you have boy section and girl section? He answered, 3 separations have been made between the spirits of the dead. Last week, based on 4 Ezra tell us about 2. Enoch is telling us about 3 now. Unfortunately, let me tell you from now, him not going to tell we are who in the different 3 part them. So for that, you know, look forward to, when you get knocked. He not give you much information, he just tell us a 3 part. Anyways, 3 separations have been made, so 3 rooms. And thus have the spirits of the righteous been separated. How have they been separated? By a chasm. Now the same word is you just seen a look a while ago where Abraham tell him, man, say, me can't come over this to you, bridge. Isn't this the same word?
That's the same
Yeah.
word.
By a chasm. So there is a chasm that separates us by water and by light above it. All of them separated. So what mean? Who in a section 1 can go over section 2, who in a section 2 can go over section 3 and section 1 and section 3 smarty can come over section 2 and section 1. Everybody have to stay which part them there. Sound very familiar based on what we've been reading all along. Right, sir?
Yeah, I think I would want to inject something in the scripture, but it said don't inject it in the scripture.
You want to believe that one of the section them is for them people who never hear about Yahweh yet, eh?
And I choose the one that had the light above it. That's the one I would choose. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we don't get the information. But if a 3, then what would a third one be for? If one is for righteous, one is for evil, then a third one must be for in between. If you're reasoning from human logic, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who in a limbo where we don't know if we do with them yet. We have to go teach them and then see which way them go.
That's the same thing I was here thinking.
Yeah.
And advice that give me.
Yahuwah will reveal to us in due time. So we're not put nothing in the word. We just go and run with it. But we're seeing 3. That's definite. We're seeing 3. And we know already based on 4 Ezra and based on Luke that we read earlier, that one is for righteous, one is for evil. So the third, the only thing that is there other than righteous and evil would have been in between, undecided. I don't know. That's our reasoning. Anyways, verse 11. In the same way, likewise, are sinners separated when they die and are buried in the earth, judgment not overtaking them in their lifetime. Here, their souls are separated. Moreover, abundant is their suffering until the time of the great judgment, the castigation, the torment of those who externally execrate, whose souls are punished and bound there forever. And thus has it been from the beginning of the world, thus has there existed a separation between the souls of those who utter complaints and of those who watch for their destruction. So here's again, it only tells us 2, to slaughter them in the day of sinners. A receptacle of this sort has been formed for the souls of unrighteous men and of sinners, of those who have completed crime and associated with the impious whom they resemble. Their souls shall not be annihilated in the day of judgment, neither shall they arise from this place. So in other words, this not here is telling you. You remember in Christianity, them say, would a good God burn people in everlasting fire? So Enoch tell you here, yes, he will. Their soul shall not be annihilated in the day of judgment, and they shall never arise from this place. And if you will not be annihilated and you will never arise from the place, it means that it's eternal damnation. Now that it means.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's rough. That's why I tell you, at the very least, when this thing here done, we're supposed to come to the conclusion that we don't know this thing here. At the very least. And I think that's a very good place to be when you empty out yourself and learn all of the madness, so Yahuwah can pour through wisdom into us, to a clean vessel. I think the first step to learning is acknowledging that you don't know. That is the first step in learning. The Testament of Benjamin, chapter 10. Further proof that we don't know this thing here. When Joseph was in Mitzrayim, this is Benjamin, Joseph's younger brother's testament to his sons when he was dying. This is chapter 10. He's giving his sons a recounting, a retelling of his life. So he said, when Joseph was in Egypt, I earnestly desired to see his appearance and the form of his face. And through my father Jacob's prayers, I saw him while I was awake during the day, just as he was, his whole appearance. Vision this. After he had spoken these things to them, he said, you know then, my children, that I am dying. Do the truth, each of you to his neighbor. Keep the Torah of Yahuwah and his commandments, for I leave you these things instead of an inheritance. Give them also to your children for an eternal possession. This is what Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did. They gave us all these things as an inheritance, saying, keep Elohim's commandments until Yahuwah reveals his deliverance to all the tribes. Keep Elohim's commandments until Yahuwah reveals his deliverance to all the tribes. Tell me if deliverance come to all the tribes.
No.
So it means then that you have to keep the commandments still. No, so you go.
Yeah, not even one tribe will get deliverance yet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then, you see, after you do these things, watch this now. Wait, Benjamin tell him son when him dead. Then you will see Enoch, Seth, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob being raised up at the right hand in great joy. Then shall we also be raised, each one of us, over our tribe. So them man are the patriarchs, the real patriarchs. We're not talking about the 12 patriarchs now, who are the 12 fathers of the 12 tribes. We are talking about the original patriarchs, the 22 heads of mankind, the righteous line. From Adam to Jacob, 22 heads of mankind. These men will be raised up at the right hand in great joy. After them, then the 12 patriarchs or the 12 tribes of Yisrael will be raised as well. And after that, they say, we shall worship the King of heaven. We know who that is already, the King of the heavens. Notice whenever you see heaven, you say heavens, because we don't understand, I keep saying it, brethren, we don't understand the scope of Yahuwah's rule. We think heaven is just this one thing. Remember, man say him go to the third heaven and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth, all the way to the 10th heaven, brethren. And a play government the man are running in the spiritual world. The King of the heavens, who appeared upon earth in the form of a man. Again, we are seeing, as I keep telling you, that Yahuwah is Yahusha, is not two persons, is the one individual. The Father came as man. And in order for us to understand, him tell us about Father and Son. It's not two individuals, brethren, it's one person. Deuteronomy 6 says, hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, your Elohim is one somebody. I am coming with that presentation. Don't worry yourself. We're going to look at all of it, the Trinity, the Elohim, and why is Elohim plural. I have it already put on. The Spirit not tell me if you do it yet, but the sermon done already for teaching. Don't worry yourself. One individual. See man say it here, the King of the heaven. Who is the King of heaven, brethren?
Yahuwah.
Yahuwah is the King of heaven. That is undeniable. Yahuwah, the Creator, the Father, as you know him. And it said that is the individual who appeared upon earth in the form of a man in humility. And as many as believe on him on the earth shall rejoice with him. Then also all men, after that now, all men shall rise. So after the 12 patriarchs rise, then all men shall rise, some unto glory, some unto shame. And the master shall judge Yasharal first for their unrighteousness. For when he appeared as Elohim in the flesh to deliver them, they believed him not. Them first are going to get judged. Revelation 2 and 3. I just put this there so we can compare to what we read last week in 4 Ezra. To him who overcomes, I shall give to eat from the tree of life, which is in the midst of paradise of Elohim. He who overcomes shall by no means be harmed by the second death. We saw that in 4 Ezra last week when it said that they will put on immortality. They will see the immortality that is promised to them. To him who overcomes, I shall give some of the hidden manna to eat, and I shall give him a white stone, and on the stone a renewed name, written which no one knows except him who receives it. And by the way, 7 of the he who overcomes, 7 of them, just like always have the 7 orders of rest. And he who overcomes and guards my works until the end, to him I shall give authority over the nations, and I shall give him the morning star. Jump to chapter 3 for the other 3. He who overcomes shall be dressed in white robes. We saw this in 4 Ezra last week. Them get a white garment, a garment of light. You remember that? All right, make it up.
Yeah.
So they shall be dressed in white robes, and he said that their name will not be blotted out of the book of life, and he will confess their names. I shall confess his name before my Father. We saw all of this in 4 Ezra last week, that your name will be called before the Creator. He who overcomes, I shall make him a supporting post in the dwelling place of my Elohim. You know, when you call him in a small place, it means you can't come out in a brethren.
If you move the whole structure tear down.
Whole structure tear down, you can't come out. That sound like citizenship. That sound like green card. Not even green card, because Trump revoke people green card nowadays. And I send them go back to them.
Well, the citizenship him a take with us, so.
We have to take time call their name, you know. Him and the one who win the election with them. Take time call their name, because we are going on YouTube. To him who overcome, I shall give to sit with me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne. So very similar rhetoric to what we saw in 4 Ezra. And I'm giving you Revelation 6 as proof. That is not me make it up. So people under the altar with John see, Revelation 6, when he opened the 5th seal in verse 9, I saw under the altar the souls of those having been slain for the word of Elohim and for the witness which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Master, set apart and true, until you judge? So they are crying for vengeance, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth. Same thing that we read in 4 Ezra last week. Same thing we read in Enoch 22 earlier. And there was given to each one a white robe. Watch this now. And they were told that they should do what? What is this little 4-letter word here?
Rest.
And 4 Ezra tell us that they get 7 orders of what?
Rest.
Thank you. A little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brothers who would be killed as they were was completed. So the reason why they have to wait is that they have to wait on us. And I say us because I believe that we are all endeavoring to be in that number, right?
Sure do.
So we should be glad that the master tell themselves to wait, because if he not tell themselves to wait, then we're not going another number. So make them go and wait. I would have liked them to stop ball too. Further down the hole we're going, brethren. I'm going to show you, we're going to draw in the next individual. Last week we drawing Moses in the argument. I don't think we're not done with Moses yet. We're going back to him next week. We're going to pull in another individual in the line of reasoning now, as further proof that we have no idea how this thing here works. Psalm 110 verse 4. Yahuwah has sworn and does not relent. He says, You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. Melech, Sedek. Malak means king. Sedek means righteousness. According to the order of the king of righteousness, you are a priest forever. So we see the order here. So persons hear about the order of Melchizedek and them think it's the writer of Hebrews come up with this. No, it's a quotation of the book of Psalms. Who is this Melchizedek? You are a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. Hebrews 7. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, and Salem, by the way, Shalom. I don't know how them get Salem. Shalom. And what is Shalom? What does Shalom mean?
Peace.
So he is king of what?
Peace.
King of peace. Priest of the Most High, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him in Genesis 12. A 12 or a 10, one of them. I think a 12. Or 15. Not 10. Genesis 10 is the table of nations, so it would be 12 or 15. His name being translated indeed first King of Righteousness and then also King of Peace. That is King of Peace, King of Shalom, that is King of Peace. Watch this now. Look what it says about Melchizedek, brethren. Without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but having been made like the Son of Elohim, remains a priest for all time. So clearly this is not talking about Yahusha, because it said having been made like the Son of Elohim, and it said that Yahusha is a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. So it means that Melchizedek is not Yahusha. A lot of persons believe that Melchizedek is Yahusha. I believe otherwise. The book of Hebrews make it even more complicated, because it say without father, without mother, without genealogy. It means that there is no ancestry. You can't trace his lineage, and he has neither beginning nor end of life. Maybe that is we call it no figurative language. We don't know. I will give you other accounts that say otherwise about Melchizedek. You know ready? I wanna tired. I wanna can't take no more.
Go on ahead, man. Continue. Me can't take more, so
Ready,
Go
ready.
on, man.
So
I'm full speed ahead.
who is Melchizedek? The writings of Abraham 99. No, Melchizedek was a priest. Kohen is priest. After this order, watch this now, which is the Kodesh order of Elohim. So you see the other thing coming into play now. Nice and neat, right? And we can connect dots now. So the Kodesh order of Elohim, now the same order this me tell you says the same order of the ancients, the same city where them set take up, Enoch city where take up half of the earth. So you see how everything shaping up now? Eh?
yeah, we'll follow.
So Melchizedek was a priest after this order, which is the Kodesh order of Elohim. Therefore, he obtained peace in Shalom. Shalom is a city, and was called the Prince of Peace. So his city was called Shalom. And his people wrought righteousness. So they worked righteousness and obtained the heavens, for they looked for the city of Chanoch, Enoch, which Elohim had before taken, separating it from the earth, having reserved it unto the latter days or the end of the world. How this sound?
So like something in store. Put up
It kind of want to look like kind of stone, like say at the garden.
Sound like the garden?
Yeah,
The Garden of Eden,
but
you
you
mean?
want kind of like a stone. Yes.
Well, whether it's the Garden of Eden or a city, we just know that it take up half of the earth. So it means that man, physical man, don't have access to that, which is the same for the Garden of Eden. We know that man don't have access to the Garden of Eden because a flaming cherub was put there to guide the way to the tree of life. And we see that there's an angel who guards this particular place where these souls are also gathered. So I don't know. Could be. We're not crossing anything off the list, or we're not jumping to any conclusion like that. That's a fair assessment. I thought about it in the week, so at least I know that I'm not the only one. But we're not going to be too quick to say yes. But good thinking though. For Elohim had said and sworn with an oath that the heavens and the earth should come together again, and the sons of Elohim be tried even by fire. This is Revelation 22. New heaven, new earth, new Jerusalem come down is one thing. Now say go.
Yeah.
So the heaven and the earth shall come together again. And thus, Melchizedek, having established righteousness, was called the king of the heavens by his people, or in other words, the king of peace. And they communed with those in the city of Chanoch and in the city of Peleg, and they had access to them and were blessed all their days. So they were able to communicate with those in the city of Chanoch. I remember we read earlier that the people in the city of Chanoch, they testified to the righteous on earth in those times. The book of Joshua chapter 16 verse 11, more information on this Melchizedek. Adonai Sedek, Joshua called him Adonai Sedek, same smarty. If you don't believe me, when you read it, you're going to say it's the same person. Adonai Sedek, Adonai is master, Sedek righteousness, master of righteousness. King, master, two different words. Adonai Sedek, king of Jerusalem. And we know that Jerusalem is the same Shalom. Original name for Jerusalem was Shalom. The same was Shem. Who is Melchizedek according to Joshua?
Shem.
This is Shem, Noah's son Shem. Abraham, we didn't call it now, great Philippa grandfather. The same was Shem. Shem went out with his men to meet Abraham. and his people with bread and wine, and they remained together in the valley of Melech. Who gave Abraham bread and wine in Genesis, brethren?
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek. Thank you. Second Adam and Eve, chapter 21, verse 11. It says that your son Shem, who shall come out of your loins, it is he who shall lay the body of our father Adam in the middle of the earth, in the place where salvation shall come. So we learn from a few accounts, two different accounts. The book of Adam and Eve tells us that, and I think Joshua also tells us that Adam's bones were also brought into the ark. And Shem, Noah them would have, Shem, we're learning now, would have been the one who buried it in the middle of the earth. When Shem get 15 piece of land from Noah, we know that Shem got the middle. Now, so you got Joshua tell us, and Jubilees tell us that Shem get the middle of the earth for his inheritance. Because it's just three boys, the earth was split into three. Shem got the middle portion. So we see the book of Adam now telling us that Shem buried Adam in the middle of the earth, which would have been his allotment. In the place where salvation shall come. Where will salvation come, my brothers and sisters? According to prophecy. Who is salvation, by the way? Or what is salvation?
Yahushua is salvation.
Yahusha is salvation. And where will Yahusha come?
In Jerusalem.
Jerusalem.
Middle of the earth.
Jerusalem. And Shem was the king of what?
Jerusalem.
Thank you. The writings of Abraham, chapter 3, verse 2. Peleg was the son of Eber, who was the son of Shelah, who was the son of Arpachshad, the son of Shem. And Shem was Melchizedek, which by interpretation is king and priest, for he was a king and a priest of the Most High Elohim. So when you say that Yahusha is a priest after the order of Melchizedek, it's saying that he's a king and a priest. And I said that to you at the feast last year, if you would remember when I was doing my presentation, that whenever you're reading and you see it's after the order of Melchizedek, is not a different priesthood. It simply means that you are king and priest at the same time. That's simply what it means. We can't read anything further into it. The writings of Abraham 25. Go ahead.
Question here.
Uh-huh.
What am I to understand? Is that is Shem Melchizedek, or Shem could be king and priest just like Melchizedek, or because he's a king and priest, he's Melchizedek as well?
Well, we are seeing that he's Melchizedek, or it could mean, as you are saying, that he was one of them after the order of Melchizedek, and you have a couple of them. Well,
Okay,
because it could also be, that's a good argument. That's a good point, because it could also be just as we saw with Egypt, where all the rulers of Egypt were called the Pharaoh. Pharaoh wasn't their name. Pharaoh is the title. That was the title of the kings of Egypt, Pharaoh. We know that the titles of the kings of Gerar was Abimelech. All of them named Abimelech, which means father of the king, or king father, or something like that. Ab is father, Melech, king. I think Rome, all of Rome's rulers were called Caesar. A couple more of them, I don't remember them, but I think that was it. So it could be a case where whosoever ruled the righteous was called Melchizedek, and Shem was one of them.
But there was a Melchizedek who has no beginning, no end, no mother, no father, no genealogy. And then these others come after his order, being a king and a priest at the same time.
And so that they would mean then that Melchizedek is Yahweh.
Okay.
As I say, we're not writing anything on the table, bridge. It is what it is.
Yep.
There's a lot of things for us to sort out, because even I was thinking about Elijah. Elijah is not from the tribe of Levi. And Elijah create altar and the sacrifices.
He was
and
from
the
the tribe
sacrifice
of
was received.
Benjamin.
Huh?
He was from the tribe of Joseph. He's one of Joseph's sons.
Yeah,
son.
man. Joseph tribe him come from. One of Manasseh or Ephraim. I don't remember which one.
I think it's Ephraim, the one that get the thing there. The one, I think it's Ephraim.
The first
Ephraim is the one that get the gift, right?
He comes straight down the firstborn line.
Yeah.
So he's not Levite, and he offered sacrifices and it was received. So there's a lot of things for us to rectify. But as I said, it's a lot of these things that we can't reconcile is because of the wrong that we were taught originally. So once you can empty your plate and take on the truth as it is, then these things shouldn't be hard for us to understand. So when I come across these things, I just say, why is this? I don't let it bother me because I know the answer will come in due time. So that was just another spanner throw in the wheel. Anyways, we keep it moving. Writings of Abraham 25. When I was 10 years of age, I departed from the cave by night. This is Father Abraham speaking. And we know that this is not the only account of this story, brethren. We have this account in Joshua. There's this account in the Testament of Abraham, the Apocalypse of Abraham, the amount of book of this account, brethren. You would not believe. So this is not just a one man come up with a story. So I departed from the cave by night because we know, we won't assume that everyone knows. When you read the book of Joshua, it tells us that when Abraham was born, a decree was sent out for him to be killed because there was some special thing that took place with starring at the sky, and the prophets, not the prophets, the wise men would have told the king of that time that, listen, this child that is born is going to come and overthrow your kingdom. I think it was Nimrod who was ruling at the time. Nimrod said and said, kill him. And the child had to run away. He was living in a cave. He was brought to a cave with his mother. Father sent him to a cave with his mother and the nurse, and he was living in the cave. Now we're seeing here, he said when he was 10 years old, he get tired of the cave. The man said, I can't stay in the cave any longer. 10 years me living in this cave, can't come out. So I departed from the cave by night while my mother and my nurse slept. And the messenger of Elohim, the angel of Elohim, met me and led me to the city of Shalom, where Noah and his son Shem dwelt. And maybe I'm going to get some confirmation to what she said earlier about the Melchizedek business. So he was brought to the city of Shalom, where Noah and his son Shem dwelt. And no man knew where I was. Nobody knowing God. And I dwelt with Noah and Shem for 39 years, being instructed in all the ways of the Most High Elohim, and finding great happiness and peace and rest therein. I sought for the blessings of the fathers, and I received under the direction of Noah and Shem those instructions whereby I might enter into the order of the ancients, and I became a rightful heir and a priest of the mighty, priest Hagadol, Kohen Hagadol, holding the right belonging to the fathers. So this is something that is passed down, brethren. For I was ushered into the assembly of the firstborn and tasted the fruits of life of the heavens. A serious business, bro.
For this, I would love for us as a people who are embarking on the ancient part to erase the saying that Abraham should say was a idol worshipper, and that he grew up in an idol worshipper household or a lifestyle. So this is showing you that he wasn't among those people, and this is showing you that he takes on the proper walk at age 10. So we have to erase what Christianity taught us, that he was from a idol community, idol
Well,
worship.
his father was an idol worshiper, but we know that him not grow with him father.
Yeah, but we were taught that because his father was, he was also.
Well, yeah. So he wasn't raised with his father. And we know, we read all of those nice stories. One of these days we're going to go back to all of them, where I was telling Steph about one of them the other day, when Abraham make one of the, kick down one of the statue when father have, and when the father go in there and say the statue drop, him tell the father, says the other one kick down the other one. And the father look at him and say, you take me for idiot, all the other one to kick down the other one, and him can't move. And Abraham says, see there? But you worship it and you know say it can't move. You know say I'm going to lick it down, but you worship. So we have all of those stories to prove that Abraham wasn't in line with his father's beliefs. So we're seeing here that Abraham was enrolled into this order, brethren. And if you read further and if you read this book properly, you'd realize that he received this priesthood. And these things shouldn't be hard for us to believe, because even when name Hebrews, the same book of Hebrews, tell us that Levi paid tithes when him in Abraham lines. No say go. No say him say. So Levi paid tithes when he was in a Levi, you say? Now he said Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek. So it passed down to all who were before the Levites. So Hebrews was basically, and that's why people don't understand these writings, you know. Hebrews was basically showing that the priesthood existed before. You have to understand when you're reading certain writing. And that's Paul kind of show off people. And that's why I think Paul is the author of Hebrews. But that's a story for another time. So this priesthood existed long before, and it kept passing down, brethren. So he said that he was ushered into the assembly of the firstborn, and he tasted the fruits of life of the heavens. Chapter 94. When the king of Sodom heard that I had returned from the conquest of Amraphel, son of Nimrod, king of Shinar, he came forth to meet me at the valley of Shaweh, which is west of the city of Shalom, where Noah and Melchizedek dwell. Noah and Melchizedek. Melchizedek, the book already tells us that Melchizedek is Shem. So it's using Melchizedek and Shem interchangeably now. This is telling us of that time when Abraham went and rescued Lot, when Lot was taken captive, and him take him 300 servant them and go fight and bring back Lot. He was on his way back from victory, and this is where the story pick up. Verse 2, Melchizedek brought forth bread and wine from the city of Shalom unto the valley of Shaweh, where we were encamped. And he, being the priest, the great priest, after the order of the Most High Elohim. So Melchizedek, you know, Miriam, is the great priest after the order of the Most High Elohim. So if the Melchizedek will not have genealogy and all of this something then we'd say a bit, then that Melchizedek, if there's an original Melchizedek, then it must be the same Most High Elohim, which we know is Yahweh. No, so I go. Or me alone see it. So. Miriam gonna sleep out.
No, man, me there here, man. I think that me da check in with a while ago. Me da check in with ASSEMBLY to find out how me there on.
Okay.
Just you get him?
Yeah, me get him.
Okay. Can you give me a message number me?
So it's after the order of the Most High Elohim. Break the bread and barak it, and he barak the wine. Barak means bless or exalt it. The wine also, and he distributed them unto me and those who were with me, and we partook and were filled. And I, Abraham, gave into the hand of Melchizedek tithes of all I had taken, for he was the presiding great priest, after the order of the Most High Elohim, the first of the fathers unto me, and he reigned under his father Noah. So he reigned under him father Noah. If a man reign under a man, then it means somebody is above him. So you go?
Yeah. So basically, this is saying that the priesthood is bigger than the Levitical priesthood. This priesthood is coming from Abba Yah himself.
Or the Levitical priesthood is an extension of this?
Yeah, it is an extension of this. So just like how this man here is under his father, the Levitical priesthood is under Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's an
then
extension of this.
yeah, and then we are going to see where in which it goes right back to Abba Yah himself.
So the whole thing will come back in a one where you have the king and the priest. You don't have a separation between the two.
Right.
So it's really, Israel really would have caused that split, you know, between the king and the priest, based on the tribes.
Mm.
And then you're going to bring it back to how it was originally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Chapter 109. At the end of 13 years, Yahweh appeared unto me, and he said unto me, Abraham, because you have been faithful in all things unto me from the time you were 3 years old. And behold, now you are 90 and 9. Therefore, I will establish my covenant with you, for with you I shall commence a new dispensation of the gospel, that from this time forth all those who will be sealed into me must be sealed into you. Because me, I go take up everybody else from before your time, and you wanna go leave. So everybody who wanna come up in our me take up, them have to be involved with you, basically, what is being said here. So that all those who would be sealed into me must be sealed into you. So in order for you to end up into this righteous dwelling that is being taken up of the earth, you must follow the ways of who?
Abraham.
Father Abraham. Thank you very much. Wherefore, I will send Noah unto thee in the Mishkan. Mishkan is tabernacle. I will send Noah unto thee in the tabernacle, and he will bestow upon thee the keys of this priesthood. Noah is going to teach you the keys of this priesthood. I want you to tell me now, if another same priesthood here, Abraham passed to Isaac, passed to Jacob, and Jacob would have passed to his son Levi. I know the same thing. Because when I read the book of Jubilees, and Jubilees tell us how this thing here works.
Like
Huh? When you read the book of Jubilees, because Jubilees and Joshua tells us that Levi and Judah were brought to their grandfather, Abraham. And I think Abraham it was who was the one who said to, what's her name? No, Levi and Judah were brought to Isaac, but Esau and Jacob were brought to Abraham. Abraham would have brought, what's her name, Rebecca one side and said, listen, my son Isaac loves Esau. You must do everything in your power to ensure that his Jacob gets the blessing, because Jacob is the one who is going to continue my name. He is the one that the righteousness is passing to, so ensure that his him get the blessing. And then when Jacob get the blessing, now have his 12 sons, they were brought, 2 of them were brought to Isaac, their grandfather. And Isaac, before he died, he blessed them and he pronounced the kingship upon Judah and pronounced the priesthood upon Levi, and passed where him supposed to pass, because it passed from him down to them. So we have to understand how this thing works, Bridget. This thing is passing down the line. So we have to understand. That's why I don't believe that there are 2 priesthoods. I don't believe it. I don't believe that Yahweh do this or come up thing and this is guess and spell, and because this never work, and I don't believe it. I can't worship an Elohim like that, Bridget. That is how we work as humanity. We would have better off our worship ourselves. I'm very sorry. I have to be very frank. I can't worship a God or an Elohim or a divine being or a supreme being who guess and spell, and as things go awry, him try to fix it. Can't worship. That's an infallibility. And I have to believe that Yahweh is infallible. Anyways.
But when we look at it, Marsha, when we look at it, if we observe it properly, you notice he always says, after the order of Melchizedek, not say after the order of the Levitical priesthood, showing us that this priesthood is the one that was before, and it will be the one.
Yeah.
You understand? So the Levitical, the Levite, they just act in the capacity, and the splitting now, it is very significant for us to see the splitting there, where Yahuda get the kingship, and Levi get the priesthood. You understand? So you are seeing the one same person now coming from both of them. So the king coming from Judah, the priest is coming from Levi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to understand also that we have to be very careful with certain terminologies and realize that they aren't found in the script itself. So this thing here about Levitical priesthood, you don't find it in the Bible.
True.
You don't find it in the Bible. There's no such term as mankind in the where them call this new dispensation classifies the priesthood as Levitical priesthood.
Yeah.
It's just a priesthood. Yahuwah just pick a tribe and said the priesthood must pass down in this tribe. That's simply it. It's the same Melchizedek priesthood that come down, brethren.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the
That's true.
same priesthood. As Christianity come and tell us about Levitical priesthood. There's no such thing.
Yeah, because
The Levi tribe was just chosen.
because they have hidden agenda, they brand it, they give it a brand about Levitical.
Yeah.
So
That's the same as saying Judaic king. It
yeah,
don't make no sense. The tribe of Judah was just chosen for the kings to come from it.
yeah.
And the argument down there. So there's no such thing as Levitical priesthood. It's mankind kind them terminology, as with most things. So we have to move away from that. As I said, the unlearning is the hard part. Once we can be an empty vessel, open to all of this information, then we should be well on our way. So there's no Levitical priesthood. There's not two priesthood. Yahuwah have one priesthood, brethren. Just as though there is one covenant, multiple establishment of the covenant. So as somebody dies, I have to now establish this covenant with another person so that the covenant don't die with that person. So Abraham dies, I establish the covenant with his son Isaac. Isaac dies, I establish the covenant with his son Jacob. Jacob dies, I establish the covenant with the 12 tribes of Yisrael. The covenant was first made with Adam, come down to Seth, come down to the 22 heads of mankind, come all the way down to Jacob and Jacob's. And the argument down there, so brethren, there's not multiple covenant. There's no new covenant. It's a renewed covenant. This covenant has been renewed, and we renew it every year at Shavuot. There's no new covenant. When you read what I'm calling new covenant in Jeremiah 33, it says, I am going to put the very same law in your heart. It's not a new covenant. It's the same law you tell us you have to go keep. Yahuwah don't do the guess and spell, brethren. I can't worship the Christian them God. Because him do something, and him come a couple years later, and him said, no, may I change this. This no work. We can't work with law again. We work with grace. I can't worship that person, brethren. My Elohim, one thing from creation, I know that go wrong, so I put this in place, and everything is already set. Me have one covenant, me have one priesthood, me have one law. Follow the one law, align yourself with the one covenant, work under this priesthood, and you will achieve what you're supposed to achieve. But I guess some spell thing and new dispensation and all this foolishness and confuse people, and people just lost to this thing. Madness. Anyway, so go ahead.
It also shows that the word of Yahuwah is really stern and firm, and it does not go back to him void. When it said from one generation to the other generation, it's showing you that the same renewal of the covenant from Adam to set to this is coming down. It shows that it's coming down in the generations. So it will not ever stop. So it continues throughout the generations.
Yeah. And for those listening, they can always go to the YouTube page and watch our presentations on covenant to see that there's actually just one covenant. I did one recently. I don't remember the title, but there's a recent one there a couple weeks ago. You can watch those presentations. One covenant, brethren. So don't let Christianity confuse you with this foolishness. Yahweh don't do guess and spell. And we call it trial and error. So he said, I will send Noah unto you in the tabernacle, and he will show you the keys of this priesthood. Because somebody have to teach us, just as how Levi had to teach his name eluding me now. Kohat, I think. Think it's Kohat. No, Kohat the high priest come from. Think it's Kohat. And then him teach Levi teach him name. I don't remember. Merari or one of them. One of them son them, and then him teach Aaron. Aaron had to teach Kohat teach, and he come all the way down. You have to pass it down. You learn this thing. Same thing I'm with Abraham, Bridget. Noah teach Abraham. For the city, why? Because the city of Melchizedek will I take up from off the earth, and there will be a new beginning in you. So you are going to be the reference point from here on, because I'm removing these patriarchs now. Continues. Chapter 19. Shem ruled in the city of Shiloh, and he was called Melchizedek, for he reigned as king under his father Noah, and was a priest of the Most High. So it seems as if it's anybody at all who come and be a king and priest, get the Melchizedek. Remember I told you that we were going to confirm what Miriam said earlier? See it there? So he was called Melchizedek. Why? Because he reigned as king and priest. He was called Pharaoh because he was the king of Egypt. He was called Abimelech because he was the king of Gerar. He was called Caesar because he was the ruler of Rome. And I think for the Greece, at one point, it was Xerxes. We have Oliver Xerxes, and then they move away from that. Chapter 19, after the departure of Ham from the presence of his father Noah, Shem and Japheth dwelt together in peace under the benign rule of Noah. So Noah was ruling before. But in time, conflict arose among them, and Noah led the seed of Shem to a new land, which Yahweh showed him, where they built a city which they called Shalom, the city of peace. So we're getting the information how the city came about. Noah invested his son Shem with authority to reign as Prince of Peace, and Noah devoted his days to instructing his people after the order of the ancients. This is leading us to our concluding slides. The order of the ancients. And his people dwelt in righteousness and worshipped Yahweh their Elohim and served him. They established the order of the heavens among them and sought after the city of Chanoch. And Yahuwah came among them and ministered to them. And those who sought for the gain of this world went out from among them, for they held all things common after the order of Chanoch, and no man was above his neighbor. So in that city, everybody is equal. Anybody who wasn't of like mind, they left. Anybody who have earthly mind and materialistic and wanted possessions, they left this residence and went out into the world. No, we get him.
Sorry to be interjecting, sorry, girl. This gives me a confirmation, that Yahweh really speaks, because I remember when my sister called me and said to me, "Boy, Miriam, everybody left, nobody not left." And I was talking to Daddy, and Daddy said, "Is the nobody that gone? But whosoever leave, they are the ones that's supposed to leave, supposed to remain behind." And now we are seeing that whosoever does not believe in the way of Yahweh, they were the one who was taken away or left from the body. So it's the nobody that really leaves for true. The word confirm it now. Thank you.
Coming from when I was a child in the assembly, back then it was church, was easily, remember we had benches, it was easily about 100 odd people. Because remember at one point persons had to stay outside, stand up outside and look through the window. Easily 100 odd. Place hot. The amount of people in the place hot. And when we changed, when we started to keep feast, we left from Sunday to Sabbath, you lose some. Then we took on the feast days. They dropped to 70 when we took on the feast days. And when we decided that we were going to kill the Jesus and the God thing and work with the rightful names, the Yahusha and the Yahuwah, and we're going to proclaim the name. And we said we're going to walk the ancient path and move away from this Christianity thing, and we change our name to the Assembly of Yisrael. The 80th drop to 30th, and here we are. So it keeps getting small, and I have no issue, because the smaller it gets, the greater the learning. And I think persons who have been here from the start can attest to that.
And the word attests to it just now too. The word attests to it. Who don't believe and who don't want to sort that way, they take themselves and go.
Yeah. So we see in the order of the ancients. And what would you know? There's a book called The Order of the Ancients, which brings us back on topic. Because remember, we're looking at Chanoch and Eliyahu, I'm just showing you a lot of scriptures to prove to you that this idea that Enoch and Elijah are the two witnesses of revelation, you're not supposed to discredit it too quickly, because there are a lot of other things in the Bible that we can't explain. And I think I've proven that so far. Anyways, there's a book called The Order of the Ancients. Let us read it. Chapter 1. This is the book or the record of Elijah, the Tishbite, which he wrote for his disciple Elisha, whom he called from his field in Abel Meholah unto the Kodesh order of Elohim. Sound familiar, eh? The Kodesh order of Elohim. No sound familiar?
Yeah, man.
Same thing we read a while ago in the writings of Abraham. Eh? Behold, I, Elijah, Eliyahu, write this record with mine own hand, and no man shall see it until I have ascended into the heavens, the Shamayim. Then shall my authority and the keys of my priesthood, which is the priesthood of the fathers, pass to my son Elisha by right of lineage and obedience. Watch this, Pay attention. Elijah said, because remember, I tell you that Elijah, after sacrifice, we can go around that. Remember, Elijah built him altar when the priests of Baal were there, and him tell them, so wait up for them one, and now him tell them, so to call down fire and then ball from morning till evening. And then him set up him, and him tell them, so wet it up and wet it up and wet it up, and then him call down fire. And the fact that the fire come mean that his sacrifice was accepted. Now, so you go, Virgin?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And if a man, based on what we are taught, if a man is not Levi, he's not supposed to light no fire and set up no sacrifice. Now, so you go?
Also offer no sacrifice unto Abaya.
That is what we were taught. But we're seeing otherwise, because even if you don't believe this book, you believe Second Kings will tell you that is what Elijah did. So we have to rectify these things. I don't think it's very hard to rectify, because the law that say you're not supposed to something, that say that, only the priest supposed to draw near in the temple. Elijah was not in the temple. And Elijah is a prophet of Yahuwah. So the prophet, I think, have authority to do him and offer him sacrifice. Anyways, we can look at that another time. The man said, my authority and the keys of my priesthood, which is the priesthood of the fathers, which suggests that is that very same priesthood coming from Adam come down the line that we were just reading about. It will pass to my son Elisha by right of lineage and obedience. Anybody who know the Bible is supposed to jump up now and say about Elisha and his son. It said that it's going to pass by right of lineage and obedience. Remember, I show you the right of the firstborn and how it skipped the actual firstborn who is the firstborn by order of birth and go to the person who is obedient. When you remember them sermon, they will labor and teach them something there?
Yes, man.
There's a reason why we have to labor and teach all of those things so you can understand these things when we get there. This priesthood came down to me from the fathers by lineage, for I am a descendant of Yahusha, the son of Nun, that's Joshua, who was descended from Ephraim, the son of Joseph, through whom the rights of the firstborn descended in Yashua. And we know that Joseph get the double portion, which is the right of the firstborn. These rights I received when I was but a child from my father, before he was martyred for the testimony of Yahuwah. And according to the word of Yahuwah, I have appointed Elisha, who is my adopted son, to be my successor in bearing of this work. Same, adopt Elisha. Nevertheless, not all of my rights shall rest upon him. For Yahuwah hath said, behold, my servant Eliyahu, Elijah, shall not die, but shall bear with him the keys of his ministry unto the city of the heavens, until the last days, when I shall send him unto one of his seed, whom I shall raise up to bear the fullness of this ministry again among the sons of men. Mighty Father.
They say something right or something not right, chat.
Something right?
Something burn.
But he shall leave with Elisha those keys necessary to continue his work in organizing the schools of the prophets and the order of Chanoch, that the sons of the prophets, Nebiim prophets, may continue to live after the Kodesh order of Elohim. So we here on earth are still required to seek after this order in a Bridget. Because if you're not finding another order here when time coming, pain piece of time come, but it's when your real time come. If you are not found in this order, Bridget, Mighty Father. Chapter 2, verse 2. So we are seeing in chapter 1 that Elijah, according to this book, is confirming that he's one of the witnesses, basically.
Yeah.
Chapter 2, verse 2. Everyone who desired to enter into the order of Chanoch must be one who loves Yahuwah his Elohim with all his heart. This sound like Deuteronomy. This sound like Exodus. All his might, all his mind, all his strength, and one who loves his fellow man as himself. This sound like Yahusha read a book here, according to the word of Yahuwah through Marshall. So that's how you get into that order. I just put it there so you know. Chapter 7, verse 1. Those who enter into covenant to hold all things common according to the order of Chanoch and faithfully adhere to the order of the ancients should be instructed that their minds may be open to the vision of eternity and how the order of the heavens can be established and perpetuated here on earth. This is Revelation 22, Bridget. Heaven and earth combined. I don't know. Them book are normal, Bridget. Jeremiah say no. Ask for the ancient part. That is the same part where your father walked, the ancient. When you hear about ancient, Bridget, it is making reference to the fathers. The order of the ancients is making reference to the patriarchs from Adam come down, Bridget. You have to adhere to their order. You notice that this thing is not a New Testament thing in a Bridget. Christianity tell you about this new dispensation and what replace what. Every single thing is pointing to the old, the long time something. And if you read your Bible objectively, you will realize that there is nothing new. There is nothing new, and it's the same for the Creator's laws and his ways. Man tell you about sacrifices abolished and all of these madness teaching people. When there is no sacrifice because there is no temple and sacrifices take place in the temple, that's all you teach the people. Them not tell nobody about no sacrifice abolished, brethren. I keep telling you, if you are going to change a law, it must be clearly stated that this law has been changed. If Jamaica is going to amend its constitution, there is something public that is issued, that all members of the society, of the citizenship, the citizenry, the population have access to, that they can refer to state that law X has been changed and it is no longer saying this, but it is saying this now. How is it then that Yahuwah's laws changed? Saturday changed to Sunday, Sabbath changed to Sunday. Feast day changed to Christmas and Easter. And new priesthood and new covenant and all of this. And you cannot find clearly written verses. And you can't find Yahusha himself who them say change the law, stating that he changed the law. How? Impossible. Something wrong. Something not right. So I'd urge everyone to find the right teacher, find the right school, find the right creator too. Call the right name, and he will lead you to the right person. He'll lead you to the right books. He'll lead you to the right teachings. And you can reconcile everything and have all your questions answered. I keep telling people, I can't stress it enough. I refuse to live my life based on the teachings of individuals who are unable to answer my questions. And that is how we got here. Christianity was not able to answer our questions. When we asked questions and the pastor couldn't answer, he tell you to sit down and shut up. I cannot subject myself to any code of conduct, any system of belief who cannot answer my questions. If I am going to live my life according to what you say, at the very least, you should be able to give me answers when I am confused. I think that is fair, but to each his own.
You see, Christianity look towards the future, while Hebrew or Israelite, I want to say Hebrew. The Hebrew look back at the future, at the past, because the past determine the future. It's
So you
not
learn.
okay. So yeah, the past determine the future, not the future determine your future. So, and that's the reason for the word. Yah said the words were recorded for our sake, so that we can know what our foreparents gone through, the wrong that they have done, or they have corrupt the path, are their way, their lives, and then we now have to walk and and fix the corruption and let our life now be in the right path and live our life in the right manner so that we can determine our future.
Yeah. So
What you say is that our past, as in me, my past wouldn't be determined my future. The present will determine my future. How I'm going to live my life as of today, as of now, will determine my future, because the past is just messed up, because we learn a whole lot of foolishness. And now, like I say, everything we play to learn the right thing. So I would say the present determines your future.
So when we say past, we're not talking about your individual past. We're talking about the past of the entire world. We're talking about Adam, where it went wrong, how it is being rectified, and the righteous in the past who we are to look up to and walk according to them. Because if you don't look back on the past and look at Abraham, look at the Isaac, look at the Jacobs, look at the Shems, look at the Seth, all of these righteous men, the 22 heads of mankind, and emulate those men, then we won't get to where we need to get. So that's what she meant when she said past, and not our individual past, because this thing is bigger than us. So we want to make that clear. So it said that you have to faithfully adhere to the order of the ancients, which is their fathers, whatever order that is. And we know that that is the Torah, word for word, line for line. You must be instructed that your minds may be open to the vision of eternity. If you don't find this order, brethren, you will never be able to accept this teaching that is being taught here. Your mind will never be open to the vision of eternity because your mind is closed. We cannot fathom it. The reason why we don't understand this teaching, the reason why we are confused, the reason why we have so much questions is because our minds have not been open to the vision of eternity. Our minds cannot perceive how the order of the Shammai in the heavens can be established and perpetuated here on earth. We don't see how heaven can come on earth. We don't see how the rulership that exists in heaven now can be established on earth, and earth can be run properly. We can't fathom it because we have not fully adhered to the order of the ancients. And that is why we don't understand the spiritual realm. I can't put it any simpler. Chapter 16, verse 2. He who is found acceptable shall then enter the order of Enoch. Watch this now. After the Aharonic, this is Aaron order. So now we see in Aaron order, brethren. Same thing, one something. After the Aaron order, where through obedience to the word of Elohim and the instructions of those who preside over him in the priesthood, he may progress, watch this now, from one degree to another until he entereth into the order of the Father, which is the most holy, the most set apart, the most Kodesh order of all. Remember I told you that Satan mirrors everything that is in Yahuwah's kingdom. See it here? The Freemasons, them not tell about 1 degree to the other. Till they have about what, 33 degrees then, say them?
Yeah, 33rd degree, yeah.
Okay. See it here? 1 degree to the other. Man in the New Testament say from glory to glory. See there? 1 degree to another. I know normal people accept these teachings in a bridge. Them teaching are not baby something. You know. These kind of teaching are not for children. Anyways, chapter 21:10, I think, is the last one. Now Elisha, my son, man, I close off in book now. I shall soon leave to join my father Enoch, whose city I have sought all my days. So Elijah, when he left, when tell Elisha, say, my God, join him father Enoch. Could it be that these two men are the two witnesses of Revelation? Do you think we presented enough evidence to say yes or to say no? We
Right,
continue next week.
that's a go ahead.
We continue next week to see where the rock of Yahuwah leads us. Questions, concerns, loud outbursts, comments?
Basically, I think sometime last week you have read the first week you have read where it says the father said, "Who are these two that have not gone down into Sheol as we were?" So, and then we see these two. There are a lot of account in the scripture that says they weren't die, they were taken. Yeah, take them. And now this is a confirmation that these two will be the witness. They will get their fair share of the first death, and the second death will not have power over them. Thank you. Interesting.
Anybody else? Before we stop the recording, we've been going for a while tonight. We can stop the recording now and then have our discussion otherwise.